Hi, welcome back to MOAB. This time we're going to cover a song that took me 15 years to complete because it proved to be a real mofo of a piece. This time on Making Music on a Budget, we're going to look at a song that, much like its titular subject, proved to be very elusive. The song is called Money. Before we go into all the pivots and changes and reworks, let me maybe start with a backstory. I wrote this song in the 2000s when I think I needed some songfluenza balm to soothe my ailing soul. I was, I think, recording the first version with our daughter, newborn daughter on my chest in a, baby carrier. In a way, it was some kind of strategy to calm myself down, even though we were running out of money constantly. So I wrote this song, and let's maybe listen to the first version.
Worrying about the rent in the daytime, fretting about the taxman at night. Sometimes I feel so low I fail to see the sunshine, and I wonder, will I get ever back in stride?
As we can hear, it's just a piano and vocals. At that time, I couldn't play the piano. I was just basically pressing keys and putting it to MIDI. Much later, I came back to the song. I hadn't worked on it or looked at it for a long time when I started learning the piano at 45. And as this song was rather simple, I took it to, have some fun on the piano and try out some things I learned from my teacher. So chord-wise, it was actually quite simple. So I played around, and maybe a bit to its detriment, I made it quite complex. I added lots of alterations and little gimmicks and funky licks and all that. Because I like to play it on the piano at that time. I did then go into the typical rehearsal room that you know so well by now. I recorded the piano with a stereo microphone and the drums, using the same method as always. We can take a short listen to this version, but this is really just a mock-up because it doesn't capture what I was hearing. But let's listen regardless.
Worrying about the rent in the daytime.
So as I said, this was more like a dummy version. It didn't really capture what I wanted to convey. At the same time, I was quite happy to have rediscovered this song because it was from a time before I joined the OF club. So I thought, what could I do? How can I make it more funky? Because I always had this Latin feel in my head. So I just tried out several things. And I think this is another facet of MOAB, to just try things, and then if they don't work, just move on. I think there are really no bad ideas. They're just ideas that don't work in a specific context, or they are just not developed enough. Maybe they're a bit undercooked, but I don't believe in a bad idea as such. So what I did is I tried to play the Rhodes for the first time. I never played Rhodes because I'm not a pianist. This is a Rhodes, as you can see, but it's just on loan. I just got it and it's not working. So I'm going to have it repaired. Thank you, E. And then I'm going to try to play some things on, upcoming videos. But for now, on that song, I was just playing it with a sample version on the iPad. And you can find very, very, very good plugins or even virtual instruments that just run on the iPad. And there's a piano that is great, a grand piano. There's a Rhodes. There are many, many other things that I really like. So I was just playing it. Then I asked a bass player. As always, I had some ideas in my head of how it could fit together, drums and bass. So after many back and forth and me singing into into my mobile quite a few times and then writing very long notes, we got to a very nice version. I did one thing, and this is also another tip I would like to share. If you get stems, they're called stems or tracks from gig musicians via the internet, you can always play around with them. You can cut them, you can move them to other parts of the song, and you can make them fit. What I did, because I had a certain sound in my head, was an octave, like an octave higher, playing at the same time as the original bass line. So what I just did, I just copied the original bass line and just pitched it up by 12 notes. and put it in, and that sounded cool. Of course, I know that there are many pedals or boxes or whatever, or plugins you can use. But once again, I don't know this from this when it comes to specific things, you know. So I was just playing around with that. Then I had a guitar player play on it. And then I went back to the rehearsal room to play some drums that would fit more what had been played by the bass player and the guitar and the Rhodes. I did actually, I did come up with something that kind of worked. Once again, recording it with my stereo microphone. I mean, let me play you a bit.
I say money, I say money, I say money.
As you can hear, there are two problems. It's too busy, you know, there's too much going on because I had basically pumped up the whole song in the chord department, in the rhythm department, in the lick department, and now I was playing a very busy drum style on it. Also, as I said, I hadn't played drums for 20 years, so my drumming just isn't clean, and I could hear it. One more important rule that I set for myself when I'm making music on a budget is that when I'm recording an instrument, piano, drums, singing, whatever, I try to cap it at 3 hours or maybe 3.5 hours if I'm feeling frisky. But after that, if you don't get it, let it go, sleep on it, and come back the next day or the next week. Sometimes your mind just needs to rest and put it all together while you're sleeping, right? At that point, I really waded into a bit of a morass of musical producing, which meant that I had drums and vocals and background vocals and guitar and bass and Rhodes. So everything was there, but it just didn't work. It just didn't, fit together right. So it was almost like a puzzle piece that I couldn't get completed. The problem, I think, was that I tried to add more complexity to make it work, whereas very often you just need to reduce the complexity to make it sound better or to somehow make it click. So after throwing the kitchen sink at this song, I said, okay, let's just calm down. Let's revisit everything from the beginning. And I thought drums maybe aren't the right way here, because I can't play them in a way that works. Also, I'm very busy, so I didn't want to go back to record drums a third time. So I just threw them out. And just by pure, inspiration, I thought, let's just use a typical 808 programmable, what do you call it? Like a beat pattern, like 4 on the floor. With some nice hi-hat on top, right? I put it in within 5 minutes. I send it to the dear friend I'm mixing all this stuff with, and we were off to the races, so to speak. Having put it back in, it really worked. And then, of course, I couldn't stop, like somebody looking at an open box of chips or whatever. And I got back in touch with a lady who played the horns on another song. And after a lot of back and forth and me singing into my mobile, all these things, writing long notes, we came up with some very nice horn lines and, a funky sound. So at long last, we put it all together. We had a version, we had a mix. We were at the end of the journey. I would like to play it to you. I do have to prepare you that it's actually a lot because it's a mofo of a piece.
Worrying about the rent in the daytime, fretting about the taxman at night. Sometimes I feel so low, I fail to see the sunshine, and I wonder, will I get ever back in stride? Me and my little family live in a cardboard box up in the attic. Wash our faces in a plastic pail, and all we use is only makeshift. But I say money, I say money, I say money is only skin deep. I can always find another dime, but you're the one love in my life. I say beauty say beauty, I say beauty is only paper thin. The way we were, the way we will. You're to me that same girl still, oh money. It's only money. All the things I counted on never came to pass. All these makeshifts and fallbacks, they still do last. Change is the only thing that's sure. We've been made rich, but we still feel so poor. There used to be voices when we fell asleep, murmuring outside all muffled and deep. That's all over, no, don't you see? These voices will now be you and me, and I say money, I say money, I say money. It's only skin deep. I can always find another dime, but you're the one I've in my life. I say beauty, I say beauty, I say beauty is only paper thin. The way we were, the way we will. Come on now. You're to me that same girl still, oh money. It's only money. Yeah, it's only money. Can't you see that it's only money?
So what do you think? I do like it, but it's very divisive. Some people love it, some people don't care for it. On some days, I know what I wanted to do, and on some other days, I think, what is this all about? It's a lot of ado about nothing, right? Anyhow, I'm glad and proud, to be super honest, that I finished the song. The story is still as relevant as ever because I'm still running out of money. But on the other hand, on the flip side, the person I wrote it for is still here. So that's a win in my book. We have come to the end of another Making Music on a Budget MOAB journey. What's the moral of the story? I think it is go back to the original place. If you are lost in the woods, somehow go back and think about what was the original intention. What did I want to do? What was I hearing? Listen back to the song from the future. So maybe we could compare it to something like a hedge that you cut into a very nice, I don't know, Mario or a duck or whatever. I think if you have the original hedge, everything you need to make a nice, figure or a sculpture is already there, but nobody can see it because it's covered by so many, twigs and leaves, and branches. So you really need to take out your scissors to bring it into the shape that works. I honestly don't think we could do it fully this time, but it's another step on the MOAB journey. See you next time.